name is Micaiah Stevens. This is havenstudios.net. Click here. So I'm Micaiah Stevens, Unity programmer. Got a lot of experience. Mostly I want to be a game developer, game designer. I'm Haven Studios. You can reach us at support@havenstudios.net. You can also reach Micaiah Stevens there. So we're working with Unity. We want to create a random values. We're creating a whole bunch of people through data, and I want to attempt at a random gender. So it's very simple. I want male, all the male people to be bool of 0 or true, and all the females to be 1 or false. Just very simple data. So my first attempt was actually quite naive. I set up this number of people right here, and I gave them, if their gender is true, I gave them the name Mike, and somehow we've got 10 people, and they're all males. So the reason this is sort of it right here. We're asking for a new human. We give it an ID, and then we get this random gender 0, and which is this static function right here. It just returns an int r. We want a random value between range of 0 and 1. This is always returning 0, and then we're like, all right, we forgot. We have to return 0 and 2 because we want, I think it's an inclusive, not including 2. So then we come down here and we say, cool. Now we're getting random people. We get Mike and Mary. I don't have a wife, so if her name's Mary, good on me. But anyways, we've got 4 males and 6 females. Well, that's interesting. I thought male and females were like 50-50. Coin flip odds, right? So then we're saying, okay, well, let's try this. We've got a int r, random value. And then if it's less, I believe it returns 0, between 0 and 1.0 inclusive. So that's 1 and 0.9. So if it's 0.5, we could actually maybe do, well, I guess that wouldn't work. I was thinking of doing like 1.0 divided by 2. Anyway, so we've got between 0 and 5 for the get gender 1. So under our people, people. All right, I totally forgot about that. Anyways, so under here, we're doing a whole lot of stuff as usual. So under here, we're going to use the gender 1. Try this again. We get about the same results. Well, that's interesting. Returned 5 and 5. It's actually kind of unique for this example. Okay, so that was pretty good. Gender 2, we've got a range of 1,000. We're asking to get the range from 0 to 1,000. Maybe we should do 1,000 plus 1 or something. Anyway, so if it's less than the range divided by 2, return true. And we also have to change one more piece of code right here to change back into excuse me. So we're going to try this again. We got 5,000 results, so we should get 9 and 1. Yeah, so that's much worse. We also thought about, hey, another thing we could try doing is if we up our length to 1,000, let's say. Takes a couple of seconds. Got 1,000 people. Yeah, see, so we're a little bit evener. We got male of 497, female of 503. We're still sort of, we're not quite happy yet, so we're going to go to 10,000. And then in our conversations, for some reason, we're going to say get gender. No, let's actually do get gender 2 again, because get gender is how we're actually going to do it. And we're going to bump this up to, I don't know, 100,000. So we're creating 10,000 people between the values, so we'll have 10,000 people, and it's I honestly think at this point we should be at least getting more close. We're only off by 10 10% or something, or 1%, but still, it's like it just doesn't feel right. So what we suggest to finally do is something called get gender. That 0.5 was actually the closest. I'm not sure why that. I think we should maybe run that again. But here we go. We got 10,000 people. We've got male 5,000, female 5,000. That's kind of what we're going for here. Let me go for this one again real quick. I think it was this one. Yeah. Oh, no. It was get gender 1, right? Whew, so much code. Yeah, get gender 1. Oh, which is what we did. Okay, so this is kind of running this again because we came up with, yeah, there we go. For some reason it just got lucky. It still comes up with that. So how do we solve this? Well, we're going to solve this by doing get gender. Get gender is relies on this people. We need to init the utility, which is kind of just our basic function right here. And we're just going to say our last gender is false, and then we're going to set our last gender to a random value between 0 and 0.5. This is just a boolean. It was much easier. It wasn't because it was actually working, although maybe it's more indication that's cool. Anyway, so it takes the last gender and it sets it up to be initial value of between true and false. So like if we could set this to false and then set this to true, or not even set it at all, but we kind of wanted to set this up randomly. And we do this by saying, when we call this function, we're setting the last gender equal to the not last gender. So if it's true, it sets it to false. If it's false, it sets it to true. And then before, make sure we're not muddying our data, or returning, if we're switching off this last gender. If it's true, we return true, else we return false. And that gives us 50%. Get gender is just supposed to say, whatever gender the person is, return the opposite of the last person. So it comes out to an even 50% across the board after 10,000 or 100,000 or a million people. So I thought that was kind of what I was going for. I thought it was an interesting take on, I've done a lot of this, and it's like you get that sort of random just feels wrong in computers, and it's probably why I want to do this video. Anyway, so I thought this was came out to be a good, if we're truly at coin flip odd, whenever we flip a coin, it should be 50-50. Unfortunately, we're sort of deterministic on the last flip. If someone, was kind of going, knew the last, child born, then they could guess what the next child is. But for the computer, it sort of doesn't really care, and we just want these numbers to be even. So it's actually a really interesting take on using those genders to sort of make sure they're dead even. Anyway, so let's see, we got an outro here somewhere. Here we are. So we're just trying to do random values, creating people through data. We're trying to do a random generator, and it's just a 50-50 split between male and female. I'm working for a company called Haven Studios, which is my own company. We're putting together projects and working with Unity quite extensively. You can also reach me, Makai Stevens, there. So thanks very much, and we'll see you guys next time. Take care.